Hey guys, so today's notes are going to be on the clicker quiz for MSM. So our title for today is Linear Equations Part 2, MSM. Pues estas notas que vamos a tomar hoy son de las ecuaciones lineales y esta es la parte 2 y es lo que vamos a hacer en el examen que tenemos al ratito. Pues make sure you guys are writing this down. Okay, asegúrense que están escribiendo esto. Okay. So the first question that we have on our clicker quiz, let me check to find it, is when baking bread, Chef Pierre has an equation he uses to calculate the amount of salt for the dough based on the amount of flour used. Remember, the amount of salt is our output and the amount of flour is our input. So we have this equation, so it says y equals 0.02x. Okay? And our question is this equation linear or nonlinear, and why? So on your paper, you're going to write question 1, and you're going to put, is this equation linear or nonlinear? Okay. And why? Okay. So here are options. We have it is linear because there is a decimal coefficient. It is nonlinear because there is a decimal coefficient. So first things first, does it matter when our equation has a decimal point or a fraction? No, it does not. So A and B, we can cancel out. And C, it says it is linear because it fits a y equals mx plus b form, or D, where it says it is linear because it doesn't fit the y equals mx plus b form. So one thing that is very important to note is that, yes, it's going to be one of those two answers, but they mention a lot y equals mx plus b. Mencionan mucho y es igual a mx más b. So, yes, this part right here is part of y equals mx plus b, which this would be the mx. So it doesn't have the b value or a y-intercept, but this is one thing that you guys need to know. Even if it doesn't have both parts, the b and the m, the y-intercept and the slope, it still can be considered a linear function. So if it has part of y equals mx plus b, it is linear. So it can have both parts. It can have the y equals mx plus b, or it can have just mx, or it can just have b. So it doesn't necessarily have to have both. Okay? It can, but it doesn't. It isn't a requirement in order for it to be linear. So since it doesn't have both parts, and we said it doesn't have to have both parts, the mx and the b, then we can still consider this linear. So our choice would be which one? C or D? C, right? So I'm going to put it is linear because it fits the y equals mx plus b form. Okay. Pues sería lineal. ¿Por qué? Porque tiene todavía la forma de y es igual a mx más b. Y como les estaba mencionando, no tiene que tener ambas partes. Este tiene la m porque está junto a la x, pero no necesariamente tiene la b. Pero con que tenga uno de ellos es considerado lineal. Okay. Now for number 2, question 2. So I'm going to write 2, right? And it says question 2. Y equals mx plus b is the equation for the linear function, where m is the slope of the line and b is the y-intercept. And our question says, what is the equation of the line shown? So, first things first, I want to write my formula or my form. Y equals mx plus b, right? And I want to write down the question. What is the equation of the line shown? What is the equation of the line shown? Okay. So if you go here and you were to notice, right, our y-intercept, our b, is where it intersects at the y. So where does it intersect at the y? -4. So I can know that this is going to be -4. Our b value is going to be -4. Okay. But what's my slope? How much does it go up versus over? And first things first, I want to look at my graph and see where my line is going towards. So if it's going down to the right, it's negative. If it's going up to the right, it's positive. So is it going down or is it going up? In this case, it's going down. So my slope is going to be negative. And remember, my m is my rise, or in this case, how much it fell down, over my run. Okay. So I'm just going to put y equals rise over run, negative rise over run, x minus 4. Okay. So it went down 3. So it's going to be -3. And how much did it go over? 1. So -3 over 1. And then don't forget your x, minus 4, and y equals. So another way of looking at this is y equals -3x minus 4. Because remember, any number over 1 is just the top number. So what's the top number? -3. Okay. So which of these choices would be my answer? C, right? So C would be my answer for this one. Okay. Okay. Now question number 3, it asks, which best describes y plus 2 equals -3 parentheses x minus 2. So again, I am going to put 3 and I'm going to write down that question. Which best describes y plus 2 equals -3 parentheses x plus minus 2. Okay. So which one describes it the best? For this, I am going to first try to solve for y. So remember your PEMDAS, right? So we are going to try to distribute this number right here to everything on the inside. So it becomes -3x. A negative times a negative, it becomes a positive. And this becomes 6 equals y plus 2. So again, what's blocking my y? My 2. So I had to do the opposite. So the opposite of +2 is -2 to both sides. And I'm going to put it underneath the number that's alone. Why? Because this one has a variable. And a variable can't be combined with a number just as by itself. So it's y equals negative 3x 6 minus 2 equals plus 4. So that's my equation right there. Okay, so it says, is this a function? Is it a function? Yes. Remember we learned about that previously. So a function, because it would create just it would pass a vertical line test. But is it linear or nonlinear? Remember, in order to find out, we had to see if it has the form of y equals mx plus b. So it has y, the m would be negative 3, and the y would be 4. So does it have everything to qualify it to be linear? Yes. So it'd be a function and linear. Okay, so that is choice B. Okay. Choice B. Okay. So if you don't have enough space, you can go to the back, and I'm actually going to do that even though I have a little bit of space because I'm going to draw a graph. So I'm going to turn my page around, okay, or go to the next page, and then you're going to do question 4. So question 4 says, what is the graph of the line y plus 2 equals negative 3 parentheses x minus 2? So I'm going to write that down. What is the graph of the line y plus 2 equals negative 3 parentheses x minus 2? So remember, we just solved for that, right? We just solved for it and we got y equals negative 3x plus 4. So we don't have to do that work again. Okay? Well, how do I graph it? Remember, the number that's alone is my y-intercept. Okay, so that's where it all begins. So I'm going to start off with that first. And I'm going to label my graph, remember, like part of the test, x and y. So my first point was 4, so I start off on my y. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it tells me that my slope right here, I'm going to put slope, or my rise over run, tells me that I'm going to actually, instead of going up, I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3. But remember, we still also have to have the run. So if it doesn't have anything underneath it, it becomes what? Negative 3 over 1. So we go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 1. 1, 2, 3, over 1, and so on. And then you guys can just try to do your best at drawing the line. Okay, van a tratar lo mejor que puedan dibujar eso. Y recuerden, ya teníamos la ecuación, pues ya nada más lo íbamos a graficar. El número que está solito es donde intercede en la y, pues empezamos en 4. Y dice que el slope o el rédito de cambio vamos a bajar 3, 1, 2, 3 y cruzar 1. Porque si no tiene un número abajo, sería nada más 1. Okay? So which of these looks similar to our graph that we drew? A, right? A. So we would put A. Okay, almost there, guys. Okay, and the next one, it says, which best describes y equals x squared? So remember, if we were to do a chart for this one, you don't have to write this down, okay? X and Y. Don't write this down. So it is -1, 0, 1, 2. So if we were to do this, none of the inputs are repeating. So it would be a function. So that one we don't have to really work too much on, but I want you to write this. Write down the question. Which best describes y equals x squared? So we know that it's a function, right? Okay. And how do we know if it is linear or nonlinear? Remember, we had to see if it's set up in y equals mx plus b form. It has the x, but there's something totally different about it. Okay. Has an exponent. It has a little number, which we call exponent. Tiene un exponente. If it has an exponent, right away, we know that it is nonlinear because it can't have an exponent to be linear. Okay, so this I do want you to kind of like bubble in because that's super important. So it's a function and it is nonlinear. Okay, function and nonlinear. And our choice that best fits that one would be A. Okay, awesome job. So now for our final one, which it says, consider these set of points. 0, -1, 1, 0, 2, 3, 3, 8, 4, 15. It says, which description is correct? So I want you to write down the question. Which description fits the best? Is correct, sorry, not fits the best. So which description is correct? So you guys might think, what the hey is this, right? ¿Qué es esto? But you guys have seen this in another form. You guys have seen it in a table form. So I want you to create a table, X and Y. You guys have seen it like that. When we have points, the first point is always X and the next point is always Y. So our first point in the first one, let's see, I can pull this up. The first one is 0. The next one is, for the Y, it's -1, 1, 0, 2, 3, 3, 8, 4, 15. Okay? So we have that right there. And remember, in order for us to consider it a linear function, when we look at a table, it has to have a constant rate of change. Recuerden, cuando estamos viendo una tabla, estamos viendo que tenga un cambio de rédito constante para ser considerado a linear, una línea mejor. So from -0 to 0, -1 to 0, it jumps up 1. From 0 to 3, it jumps up 3. From 3 to 8, it jumps up 5. And from 8 to 15, it jumps up 7. Okay, so that is my rate of change of Y. Now let's find our rate of changes of X. So it jumps up 1, jumps up 1, jumps up 1, jumps up 1. Okay, so our X values have a constant rate of change of 1, but remember, it has to be the constant rate of change of X and Y. So our rate of change of Y, our first one was 1. Our change of X across from it was 1. Our change of Y in the next one was 3. The next one was 1, 5, 1, 7, 1. Okay, remember, I'm just writing the constant rate change of Y for my top values and my change of X on the bottom. So 1 over 1 is just 1. 3 over 1 is 3. 5 over 1 is 5. 7 over 1 is 7. So does 1 equal 3? No. Does 3 equal 7? Does 3 equal 5? No. Does 5 equal 7? No. So none of these at all are equal to each other. So if it doesn't have a constant rate of change, or if these values don't equal themselves, then it is non-linear. Okay, it is non-linear. Okay. And I haven't showed you guys yet how to create an equation for it, so I'm just going to provide you with the equation for it. So I am going to put y equals x squared minus 1. Okay, so that is actually our answer for this. I'm not going to go into depth with it yet, but this is choice D. Okay, so that is our work for today.